Last time on the Incorrigible Party. Once again, utilizing his connection with Lehan, Helkruk, Kylia, and Opal talked their way into joining the Ventus convoy of reinforced wagons. This is aided by the reunion of Opal and her aunt Amethyst, who is employed by the Ventus and has arrived in Stormcape as a giant folk expert. Comparing notes on the bread battle, Opal surprises and impresses Amethyst with what they know, discovering that there is much more to the way the bread battle operates than the legends of the creature disclose. What? Trees? What do you mean?
So the trees are they're called what we call them head trees, because there's fruit, and the fruit on the trees are heads, and the heads talk, and they...
That is positively repulsive. I'm fascinated.
It's pretty gross, and there's a tree full of squirrels, and now we have a squirrel in our house that we're just leaving on this trip, and he's in a chrysalis, and Amethyst, I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I thought I was going to be coming back to Stormcape and offering you the opportunity of a lifetime to get you out of the shop and into what you love pursuing, but it seems like you're very capable of doing that all on your own. I never should have doubted that.
You have been my inspiration. I look up to you.
Well, my dear, you are the one that inspires me. Now, I will say this head tree stuff, certainly not what I learned about as far as part of the bread battle's lore. Nothing quite so extensive as that.
It might be someone might have twisted and contorted it, because there's cultists that feed the tree with blood to revive the heads.
This is fascinating.
It was in the sewer. Also, just as a quick heads up, we took this road before, and I got scared and I killed some giants and ogres, and so my hair's cut now, so they shouldn't recognize me, but they might think you're me at a glance. So if anyone's pissed off, that might be why.
This particular tribe actually do know me. I am acquainted with them. This is the only reason we know where they are.
Right.
If you were successful in combat against some of their kin, well, they're only going to revere you. In fact, that's what giant folk, they respect. I would say you have anything to worry about.
We weren't that far out of the city. They were pretty dang close. Also, they were so weak and frail, and it's just it barely took anything to kill them, and I don't know that I like killing things, but I guess I have now.
That is unfortunately the sad state of affairs that the giant folk find themselves in. Even those that reside within Range Adam themselves, there's nothing for them to eat. This land has been desolated ever since the Skyquake event. It's just been snowballing into the city itself is taking every resource that it possibly can. That's the truth of it, I'm afraid.
So that's why they're starving? The Skyquake?
That is a large part of it, yes.
The land hasn't recovered at all? It's been a while.
Well, I haven't been to the impact site in 5 or 6 years, perhaps, but I was very interested in studying it myself, and I found no signs of recovery happening in any immediate time frame, unfortunately. Now, this is part of the reason why I am willing to help broker this alliance between the giant folk and the Ventus. I believe, much like with my own studies and excursions across all of Senta, the Ventus, they can fund it, they can support it, they can actually make a change, despite them really only being concerned about what they receive out of it. I'm not naive to that fact.
Okay, good, because our friend Rumpke that's back in town, he says the Ventus are the true enemy.
Well, the true enemy of whom?
Well, of him, because I think he's it's been a little weird, but I think he was a forge sworn or worn, whatever it is.
Amethyst will, like, immediately cover your mouth as you say that word. Do not utter that word in any vicinity of a Veritas warrior. If they find your friend or your association with them, they will kill you on sight.
But we're not... Well...
To them, it does not matter. A Veritas warrior is raised to hate two things: Forgeworn and the Nautilus Shard. That is it. It is part of their indoctrination. If you come across a warrior that has been born, raised, and bled for it, that's what they're taught. That's what is ingrained upon them. Just, you have to be incredibly careful.
Okay, so if he ever is around, like, he's got to cover up his tattoos then. I think that's what gives him away.
Well, yes, there are a few specific tattoos that were common in the Forgeworn clan that, yes, absolutely would give him away. And I would be happy to meet this friend of yours. I have many, many questions. My association with the Veritas precludes me from any association with the other two factions here. That the relationship and the ins and outs of every Middle War is something that I've studied for most of my life, but you really can only get so much information reading through texts.
Right, you're getting like one side of the story.
That's exactly right.
The problem is Rumkey. Well, so when he was Forgeworn, he was Olmec. Like, it has a new name, and like recently, I don't know if it's because he's been fighting a lot in the pits, so like took a few hits to the head, but like he doesn't remember everything, but it's all slowly coming back. So like I'm not really sure that it'll be the best. He'll have the best recall and the best memory for you, but yeah, I'm sure he talked to you. I mean, these guys. Like, I know that they're able to hear or listening, maybe. I'm like, these guys definitely have heard about you. I look up to you so much, but also, I haven't really left Stormcape. This is maybe the farthest I'm going to be out of town in, ever. So.
Well, that brings me to what I truly wanted to speak to you about upon my arrival here back at Stormcape. The Veritas aren't only here for the giant folk. They are here to procure some...
For the Zillium.
Zillium?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
There's Zillium under Stormcape.
That's not possible.
Oh, I thought you would have known.
How could that be? No, that's a surprise.
Well, then I'd forget I said that. Because you're part of their crew, so just...
If Vensus Kyto is aware of this and has withheld that information from me, then I will be quite upset with him. I've always wanted to work with Zillium.
Oh, I have been.
Tell me more.
Well, so the Brad Bettles head tree, it has like a sap in it, and it contains Zillium, and it like has healing properties.
You have samples of this?
Yeah, I mean back at our house.
Well, then once we return, okay. Listen, I spoke to Vensus Kyto about recruiting you for the other part of what they're here for.
Yeah, tell me the part. I interrupted you. Sorry. So why you wanted me?
There is apparently a drug that is being developed within this city.
Oh, stupor.
Yes, superior stupor, exactly.
Oh, the superior, yeah.
This is a drug that is going to aid the Veritas warriors in their conflict in the Mineral War. I am tasked with refining this formula, and I thought no other better person to help me study it, perhaps recreate it, make it better, would be you, my eccentric niece.
Well, thank you.
The access to supplies in the laboratory aboard the Albi, just wait until you see it. We have our own research team that we would take advantage of.
Do you have Mineralis flowers?
I'm afraid that I don't. They're extinct.
They make it from the Mineralis flowers.
So you're telling me that somewhere in Stormcape there is a specimen of this Mineralis flower growing freely, able to be utilized in this concoction?
Maybe not freely. I had some. I was growing them. I was collecting seeds. And then these two doofuses, like, came into our house, threw them in the fire, destroyed it all.
My word. I wish I had shown up weeks ago.
I'm telling you, my life has gotten crazy. Like, very quickly. We have some stupor.
Well, then you're far ahead of me, even. Then this is perfect. Will you help me?
Here's the thing, though. You're just giving it to soldiers so that they fight harder and longer and die. That seems wrong. Like, or ignore pain, or...
Yes. That is a fact that is unavoidable, I'm afraid. But the way I look at it is perhaps this drug will be able to bring this war to an end much more quickly than it otherwise would. I
think that's fair, but there are awful side effects of withdrawing from this. I mean, that's the thing you would need to concoct, to figure out, to calculate.
And I have heard this in my preliminary reports.
My friend Rumkey almost died. I think he's finally getting better.
So he's an addict then?
I don't know that he meant to be an addict, but...
Absolutely no judgment. I'm an addict myself. I'm addicted to uncovering information about every facet of life that I can. I know what it feels like to have an insatiable hunger for something.
I think that we're alike in many ways, Aunt Amethyst, but I've really been struggling lately with just, like, the morality of things. Like, how do you reconcile just, I don't know, choosing a side that could be harmful? Like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, I want to study things, I want knowledge, but I don't want to hurt people in the process.
Well, my dear, if you keep asking questions, you'll keep getting answers. These are questions that you should never stop asking yourself. And you'll have to decide for yourself where that answer lies. For me, I'm old enough to be able to put some of those moral questions aside and focus on where I am currently. I get messy, and I will take those chances, and I see myself as...
5 times.
I enjoy saying it. Is my favorite saying, in fact. One should always strive to stay messy. That's what I always say.
I agree, but messy almost hurt my family. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. People get hurt every day.
If I was a lone explorer, maybe, but this is my hometown. There are implications. There's repercussions to the things that we've been doing.
Whatever those repercussions are, you have to be ready to face them, of course. But what we are doing here in this city is...
grabbing giants, feeding them because they're starving, giving them drugs, getting them addicted, and it just seems bad.
Everything we do here, we are sending out of this city. We are ridding Stormcape of these threats.
The stupor is definitely spreading through Stormcape, and that is an issue. It's not just happening with the soldiers. I was so close to being able to figure out the flower, and I don't know, I was attempting to find an antidote, and that just felt like I was helping people, and now I'm just like...
I see no reason that you need to stop. Envoy Kyto may be a particular about timetables. It's going to work on our schedule. We have limitless resources. If you wish to find a way to aid anybody afflicted with their stupor addiction, we can put our energies there. It doesn't need to be one or the other.
Okay. I mean, you know what? You know what Micah always says? I know you haven't seen him in a while, but...
Well, the last time I saw him, he asked me if I was going to buy anything.
I mean, that's usually his shtick. But he also says, more money, more problems, you know?
Well, Micah is a very intelligent child.
Tell me about your adventures. Tell me more. Tell me about this boat in your lab and everything. And I'll just...
Sure.
Fade off into the distance of conversation. Basically assume that I tell Aunt Amethyst all of it, because as accurate as I think I know, because I think putting our heads together, maybe we can come up with some answers, but...
Yeah, absolutely. And Amethyst basically fills you in that for the last like decade or so, she has been in and out of like Range Annam and living, as she had kind of previously said, living with giant folk and kind of studying their culture. It seems to be her latest addiction.
Like she speaks giant?
She does. She is fluent in giant. Absolutely.
And she can read it too then?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Well, I'll tell her about our copy of the book, obviously. And I would ask her to maybe on the way, like it's a few days, but teach the three of us some simple giant.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time you kind of break to rest the horses, and obviously after this first day, the first like 8 to 10 hours of travel, you make it about 24 miles outside of the city. Where you camp is at Annam's Junction. As you recall, that junction is a day outside of the city. So the wagons all kind of pull into, remember, it's this kind of roundabout with 3 entrances and exits, right? You coming in from the slanted slipway, a western facing, kind of southwestern facing road that you took fleeing from these giants, narrowly avoiding the destruction of the wagon you were in, back on the kind of lower southern road into the city. And then, of course, the final road that takes you continuing westward towards the mountains. You do find remnants. You see a few of the Veritas warriors curiously looking at some of the ogres that Opal melted. Still, like nothing has been done with their bodies. The remnants of that fight, and their bodies are still lying in the middle of it. You see it looks like it makes a few of them a little uneasy as they kind of inspect these, but you can basically set up camp for the night. And I mean, the 4 of you can certainly share a tent if again that's the intent. Intent.
Kylia would have waved to Benita's body on the way past.
I mean, yeah, you do go by that copse of trees in which you've buried him. Yep.
Benito who? Oh man. I would also share my research about Mineralis, obviously. Just I want any ideas that might spark or information. I want it to all make more sense. Maybe there's some cohesion to it. Obviously, she's aware of things, and I'm aware of things from the city's perspective.
So, Kylia and Helkruk couldn't really hear what Opal and Amethyst were talking about while we were traveling, right?
Yeah, not really.
Maybe some of the excited yelling parts.
Yeah, maybe the kind of high-pitched gnomish back and forth a little bit. So no, you didn't get like the majority of what they were really talking about.
Okay, so when we camp, Kylia is going to ask about the bread battle and about the giant folklore and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to hear the story that she has, yeah.
Sure. So Amethyst basically tells you that as per told to, basically it's like a bedtime story to the kids, and she has a couple story specific folklore figures or like beasts in the go bump in the night kind of thing that are spread amongst like children and kind of told to almost again like kind of similar to any other like fairy tale. Like there's like a touch of morality within it, right, to kind of teach you not to do something or other. But basically the bread battle story is told like the bread battle is an immortal headless giant. They're doomed to wander the world in search of this stolen head, wielding the very weapon that claimed their own, right, that severed their own head. And she tells you that they say that a bread battle's head may ultimately be returned to them after like centuries of repentant behavior, repenting against whatever grievance that they've enacted upon giant folkkin to cause their own to turn on them and sever their head, basically.
In the lore, is there one bread battle?
She doesn't mention anything about there like being multiples, but she the way she tells it, it's like this is a creature out of this circumstance, right? So there's nothing that would say that only one could exist, like there can only be one kind of thing.
Like a revenant.
It is very revenant-y, absolutely, yeah. So like this act of defiance against a giant folk severed, and then they become this creature just kind of endlessly wandering the world in search of their head. She also tells you about something called the Languid, a creature that's said to move so slowly that it is invisible, only observed by giant folk who grow too lazy, too complacent. It comes for those that can see it. Looming mass of this nothingness that swallows you whole and absorbs your essence. It's said that the ones that fall victim to the Languid are rarely even noticed at first, as to be food for the Languid means that one has only ever taken food from the mouths of their kin. So kind of, again, like as part of this fable, both of these fables, like trying to instill this morality to the young giant folk of, look, you don't turn on your own, and you contribute to our communities. Kind of like that's clearly the intent behind these tales that are spread, mostly by word, right? Mostly these are verbal stories passed down.
It doesn't have to be tonight, at the campfire, but I want to remember to ask her about her knowledge of the founders of Stormcape and how they might be involved in things.
Sure, I mean, you can kind of push this conversation.
Because we think the founders... Sorry, what are we... We were thinking the founders hired the Veritas? No.
That the founders have the Breadbettle's head.
So do you want to, ask her about the Giants' rebellion? Because remember, you uncovered evidence of that, secret war that the founders waged with the Veritas' aid against the giant folk, decimating their numbers. Perhaps that's also part of why they're in the state that they are.
Yes, and they were pushed to the outskirts, etc. Okay. Yes, actually, I would ask about their current opinions of that, knowledge of that, how they feel about going back to the city post that.
Well, my dear, after the Giants' rebellion, it seems that they never truly recovered. Now, the few that I've spoken to, again, this little community, this tribe that we'll be visiting in a day's time, they're simply hungry. They're clearly desperate. Now, again, the Veritas, as she kind of lowers her voice to the three of you, the Veritas, they certainly know how to take advantage of one's failings. Let us put it that way. They know where the pressure points are, and they do not hesitate to apply them.
Good thing we don't have any, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Do the Giants know where Darnam's head is?
Oh, that's a very good question. You know, the rebellion was so long ago. I certainly recognize this Darnam name as from historical texts I've consulted, but any giant folk that would be involved with that there certainly would be long dead. Unfortunately, it was just too long ago.
If he was written in history, he might have been important. That's good to know.
Well, yeah, that was a very pivotal moment for the giant folk in this region, absolutely. Every one of them, much like the tales of the Languid and the Breadbettle itself, passed down from generation to generation of giant folk. There admittedly is obviously this sense of harbored anger against the founders in Stormcape itself. Again, only out of desperation do they wish to even venture anywhere near the city, as far as they've communicated to me, at least.
So the Breadbettle can't be killed? Because he really looked dead.
Well, as the tale goes, if a Breadbettle is struck down, it will simply, I don't know, they don't use the word, there's no giant word in the language for reincarnate, but it will rise in a number of weeks, perhaps months. Well, that's what the tales say.
I knew it.
Can't keep him down.
I am incredibly excited to look at this sap in this tree, even to gaze upon the Breadbettle itself, to find that the tales are actual reality. This world has wondrous creatures in it, but even humanoids such as ourselves have tales of those things in the night to scare us while we sleep that simply don't exist, right?
That reminds us, we saw 2 cultists at the fountain in the center of the hedge maze. They were...
When were you in the hedge maze?
On our date with Henrik.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant us. You meant Seychelles.
Yeah, us. We were in the hedge maze with Henrik, and we saw the 2 cultists, and they were digging seeds out of the tree in the fountain.
I mean, that's where we found the first tree. Thanks for telling me now, jeez.
Well, you weren't around. So we took some seeds too. So we have some of the seeds from the tireless glade tree.
Guess that's good. Maybe that's how they make new head trees?
That's how they make the new deadhead trees. But, so that explains, well, if the bread metal's not really dead, then, yeah, they're probably trying to make new trees then. But we thought he was dead, so it didn't make sense why they would be making new trees.
Aunt Amethyst, I don't know how you stay so positive, because all of this information stresses me out.
I simply choose to have a positive outlook on most things. Like I say, once you get to a certain age, you learn to find those bright spots and ignore the dark spots. Compartmentalization. That's all it is.
I know you used to tell me that knowledge is power, and knowledge is everything. But sometimes I knowledge too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Most nights I have trouble falling asleep with the amount of knowledge that is brimming within my own brain.
I've seen some things, and I'm younger than you. This is... I'm kind of glad I moved out of the house, because, like, Mom would be very stressed out. If I'm stressed out, Mom's stressing out. And then Mike is stressing out.
Well, that poor boy will be bald before he's 15 years old if he gets continues his stress levels as they are now. Now, listen, on the topic of your parents, they certainly don't know that I was on my way back to the city, and they definitely don't know about the job offer that I spoke to you about. I think we should keep it that way.
You're gonna work with your aunt?
Well, I can't accept... I signed a contract with Zelmo. I don't know if there's like a exclusivity clause.
We think as long as you're around for what Zalmo needs when Zalmo needs it, you're fine.
Yeah, like a non-compete or whatever, but I will think on your offer. Obviously. I'll have my answer by the time we get back to the city.
And you only have 5 more months with Zalmo.
It's true, 1 month down. Most people didn't survive, I mean, we know that.
Or left.
There was one that left. Ugh. See, stressful.
Yes. I suggest we all get a splendid night's rest, so we wake up fresh in the morning for our last day of travel. Look, once you meet these giant folk, you'll realize that they're just all oversized puppies at heart. Truly.
Just big teddy bears.
That's right, exactly right.
That could tear your arms off.
Well, bears are dangerous. I wish to get this trip done. I wish to see this strange creature you have growing in your home. I wish to inspect the sap. I wish to view your own notes about your own research. There's so much we could accomplish. I've been gone far too long, my dear niece. I do apologize for not returning sooner. There's just, as you certainly know, life gets in the way. You get busy. You get wrapped up in things.
Yeah, you get messy. You take chances. I get
Exactly.
There's a lot going on in Storm Cape, though. Maybe you'll stay a little while.
Perhaps, or maybe once we're ready to move on, you'll come with me.
That was a pretty cool-looking boat. Right, guys? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I've never seen a boat like that.
I must admit, it's quite a nice vessel.
Opal, this is your chance to go adventure.
Hi, Seishadal. Introduce yourself to Aunt Amethyst, eh?
Hello, Amethyst.
And she obviously, as everybody, is surprised when they hear Seishadal. Perhaps not catching this change of tone in her own excitement of like her niece joining her. But like most things, you very quickly learn about Aunt Amethyst. She approaches everything with more of a acquisitive curiosity rather than any type of standoffish surprise. So like immediately she is interested in learning all about Seishadal and your connection. Whatever information you are willing to part to her, she will just eat up.
Tell her the basics of what everybody else knows.
You want to share some more juicy details
Share extra.
that we might overhear as well?
I share the basics of what everybody else does.
I'll ask Kylia about Henrik and to tell me about her date, and I'll fall asleep while she's telling me stories about how boring he is.
Well, what does Kylia tell Opal and Helkruk about her second date?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That we went to the tree, that we saw the cultists, which necessitated Kylia mentioning who the cultists were and their connection to the bread battle and about the bread battle existing. And he met Shay Sheldell.
Wow, on the second date. Dang. What base is Seisha down?
Showing him your Seychelles on the second date.
Yeah.
And as you said, Opal, you kind of eventually you just get so late into the night, the four of you kind of conversing. You all, maybe one of you two, you're drifting off to sleep until finally you're, the last person telling their tale is kind of left amongst some snoring and rolling over in the sleep, and then you can all bed down and get a rest for this first day of travel to pick up the giants. You're roused from your sleep by a blaring horn as those very first rays of sun ignite the sky in oranges and yellows as the sun begins to rise. Why doesn't somebody give me a D10? Let's get an old weather roll here. First come, first serve.
10.
I just found my D10 die. Oh, I got a 10 also.
All right, 2 10s
10
over
wins.
2 10s it is. Okay, so
It's snowing.
The current, it's a blizzard. The current conditions: little windy, little chilly wind in the morning air, but clear skies. Hence the easily viewable sun rays of the sunrise. But immediately, the three of you and Aunt Amethyst woken up by this horn. Outside your tents, Veritas warriors they're already on their feet. They're packing up their own bedrolls and tearing down their tents. You see Envoy Kyto is up and out on his feet in his armor. The source of this wake-up call with a little tiny little horn you wouldn't expect to have made such a loud noise, considering how small it is.
It's not about the size.
Yeah, it's about how hard you blow.
It's about the spell that projects the sound.
I have been told I have a magic mouth.
Ooh.
No, I think what they meant was you're a blowhard.
Oh, dang. I always mix those two up. Envoy Kyto, he's kind of strutting back and forth. You see in his hand is that well-worn and dented pocket watch. He's got it open, clearly keeping time. Ship out in ship shape. 5 minutes, warriors. Functionality is key to operating as finely tuned as the best-made watch.
There's no ships here. He knows there's no ships here, right?
What's up with him in that watch?
He's all about the punctuality, he says. If you may have noticed, not actually a word, but very fascinating that he's adopted it. As many of the Veritas have. They have a number of interesting sayings down south.
Punctionality?
Like what?
Oh, well, put me on the spot here.
This is just Leland covering up his misspeaking.
No, this is just how bashful Aunt Amethyst is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Remind me out context. Do we know anything about this watch?
It's an old-looking, well-worn pocket watch.
That's right. It clearly looks like some handed down heirloom, perhaps. But obviously very near and dear to him, as he doesn't seem to have it, far outside of his grasp.
We'll spend 2 or 3 play sessions investigating what exactly the meaning of this pocket watch
And
is.
figure out its origin. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe a detect magic and maybe a bit of identify if you can get your hands on it.
Do a stealth while he's sleeping to try and steal it off his body.
I think that's a good use of our time.
So Aunt Amethyst is, she thinks for a quick second of what you've asked her, Kylia. Well, it's fascinating you've heard good for the goose, good for the gander?
Yeah?
Well, apparently down there, what's good for the gander is good for the moose.
Moose?
That's what they say.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, I can't say I've heard that one before. It's very unusual.
No, my dears. Like, I was up all night thinking about Kylia, your situation, and your situation with Seisha Doll. And as she's doing, she's like packing up the tent.
Our situation?
Continuing like the Veritas warriors are, basically getting ready to, start the convoy again. Well, yes, it dawned on me that we could certainly do something, Seisha Doll, about your lack of a body or the shared situation that you've explained to me. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Having my own body.
Well, as you described it, it's been... How long did you say?
Very long time.
Well, and I kept thinking about that lack of autonomy for so long and how terrible that must have been for you. Well, I thought, why couldn't we simply build you a new one?
Out of what, exactly?
A new what? Did you have an old body?
Well, yes.
I kind of feel, bad. I never really asked that sort of thing, Seisha Doll. Kind of just didn't occur to me that there was something before you and Kylia were a thing.
Are you wanting a new body? 'Cause you're getting old.
I'm in my prime.
Yes, Helkruk is not old, dear.
He stood up making a noise. His knees cracked like crazy. We all heard it.
Well, I make a little bit more noise than I used to, but I can still do all the things that a younger Helkruk could have done.
All the things?
Yeah, all of them. I'm strong, I'm spry, I'm nimble.
How do you propose to build a suitable body for me?
Well, again, we'd have to discuss some of the finer details, but I'm sure we could work it out. What type of body would you prefer?
I would have to think on that. It's been so long with no option at all. I am intrigued by this.
I simply at this point only have a theory about the necklace that Kylia wears. Certainly, if we place that into this new vessel, connected it in some fashion, that you'd be able to presume control of that vessel.
I see.
Would she like eat and pee and poop and stuff?
My dear, this option is not going to work. But it may be a place we can start from.
No, I'm certainly not saying that we should seek to sever the connection that you and Kylia share, of course. But I agree. Perhaps a starting point.
You never answer my questions.
Well, if we were to make you a new body, dear niece, would you prefer one with the rote bodily functions that one is enslaved to every day, having to take care of ceaselessly, getting in the way of your pursuits of adventure and advancing your intellect and your experimentations?
But food is so good.
You know what? I'm sold. Perhaps I'll make myself a new body as well.
Let's all do it.
What was life like for you before all this, Seisha Doll?
All this meaning being combined with Kylia.
Yeah.
It was dark and cramped. I was confined to the bottle for a very long time.
And, was there anything before the bottle? Or is that...
Before the bottle was other masters. Other people. I had to do as they bid. And before that was so long ago. I barely remember being a small child. Enough on that for today, though.
Uh-oh. I better, wrap up my stuff here.
I didn't even brush my teeth yet.
Kyto lets out another blast of his horn as Amethyst just kind of silently put a hand on your shoulder, Kylia Seisha Doll, and then kind of, well, I believe it's time to set out again.
Where ready. Let's go. Move, Helkruk, move.
I'm going. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm almost
Insert
ready.
some cracking knee noises, please. Please.
Okay, so you can ready up, get back into the wagon, and I don't know is there a specific point within the convoy that you may purposely want to be at? What, at the end? You want to try to be at the front? Like, does that matter to you?
In the middle, I would think.
Yeah, Helkruk would probably think that with Amethyst being the giant specialist, and I don't know if he overheard or not about Amethyst mentioning that she specifically knows the tribe that we're going to be approaching. I think it probably makes sense for us to be, somewhere close-ish to the front. Maybe not in front, but yeah, I don't know, somewhere in the middle or a bit towards the front.
Okay, and again, like the date, like this, the Adams Pass here, this road, like many of the major roadways in the city, again, it's like 60 feet wide in most areas, so it doesn't necessarily have to be single file as far as the journey has been yet. But you set out again, and Amethyst will mention that you're only 3 or 4 hours maybe from the giant encampment, so you're going less than halfway to the mountains, right? Which kind of makes sense, as the junction itself was the last time you had encountered these giants. Now, you haven't been told specifically, obviously. No one would be able to tell you specifically that the giants you're meeting now and picking up were the specific ones that you encountered, but with a bit of a sensibility, it kind of makes sense that they would be. Although Amethyst has again mentioned that there are a number of these giant folk collections and tribes and smaller villages throughout, towards and within Range Adam as well. Some of them that she's familiar with, some of them she's visited, not all of them, obviously. But the land immediately west of Adams Pass Junction grows just increasingly destitute, in much worse condition than what you witnessed kind of north of Adams Pass, around where the fallout from the Skyquake event that you witnessed when you were out here originally, and of course on your journey yesterday. Like the road itself here is kind of split and scarred from the aftershocks of the impact, like where you saw kind of similar like chasms and fissures in the earth from like tendrils of earth erupting and collapsing in on itself, radiating out from the impact site closer to Storm Cape. Like those had all been filled in and patched up, and again, efforts made by Capians to keep the roadways closer to the city functioning. Out this far, at least, it doesn't seem like the giant folk living around here and in the mountains that they've done anything like that to keep the terrain as navigable as possible. And any vegetation you see out here is just completely withered and dried out. You can see like layers of topsoil eroded away enough to uproot many of the dead trees, kind of in and amongst the southern hills, which would now be to your left in the direction you're traveling. And it's slow going because of all this. Like eventually, again, those 3 hours of kind of the convoy now having to divert to this single file, and you've been able to position yourself, the fourth or fifth wagon out in this line that's forming, simply to get around some of these obstacles. Slows you down significantly. Eventually, though, you see kind of up on like a hillside ahead of you, you see 4 large figures just kind of like standing atop it, clearly looking out on the roadway. By the time you've skirted these fissures and obstacles to get to where you saw those figures, along the side of the road now has formed an assemblage of giant folk, and you do recognize and can confirm the same 16-foot tall hill giant that you had encountered at the junction, and who had attacked the wagon as you rode by. If you remember that they had screamed something out in giant at you, and then as you were passing by took efforts to stop you. And with that hill giant are 7 now of the same malnourished ogres dressed in kind of tatters or really no clothing at all, aside from, something, some type of modest covering, if even that. They kind of stand a few steps, behind this hill giant. And these are the same ogre. Seems like the exact same group that you encountered at Adams Junction. And if there are more, they haven't shown themselves yet, but these 8 figures plus the 3 deaths would amount for everybody that you saw and witnessed and ran into at the junction before this a number of days ago. And the convoy again has kind of come to a stop, with the head wagon, of course, having Envoy Kyto in it. He's kind of hastened over to them, and as you've brought your wagon to stop, right as the line is coming as the traffic is coming bumper to bumper, Amethyst has quickly jumped out again, going up to meet Kyto, but Kyto's like already addressing the hill giant. Greetings, Blumker. A delight to see you once again. And he kind of, is looking around and sees Amethyst rushing up towards her, where she joins Kyto's side. Are the 3 of you following Amethyst? You see a number of other Veritas warriors, of course, are coming out of wagons, and again, kind of creating this like mirrored assemblage of people, basically just facing this group of giants kind of at the side of the road here. What are the 3 of you doing?
Kylia will follow Amethyst.
I will as well, but perhaps maybe a little bit behind her. I don't feel like I've got an official place here in these proceedings, but...
So Opal's initial thoughts, like, we asked to be here for the horses and the wagons, and why would I go up front to the diplomatic relations? But those 2 go up, so I follow? It's like obvious though that I'm like, why are we going up there?
Kylia's going up right with Amethyst, kind of looking like her bodyguard or something.
Okay, yeah, I'm like confused.
And then Helkruk, you're Kylia's bodyguard now? Like, what's going on?
No, I'm trailing a little bit behind, but like close enough to them. But I also Helkruk kind of feels similarly to Opal, like almost a little bit out of place.
Well, we are out of place.
Well,
in my opinion.
All right, well, you get up there and it's like clear, Envoy Kyto is speaking for the sake of speaking. It doesn't seem like the hill giant understands the common that he's, Envoy Kyto is speaking to him with. But as the 3 of you kind of join up and saddle next to Amethyst in your varying distances that you're keeping from the situation, Opal, you notice that some of the ogres, there's like a bit of mutterings kind of spread out throughout them. You see a couple of them like trying to be a little surreptitious, but not doing a very good job of like pointing directly at you, Opal, and you hear whispers, Jofdoth Honzig. Jofdoth Honzig.
I'm gonna take a few steps back.
Okay. Like, you want to put some warriors between you and them kind of thing? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hood up and be like, what? And then like kind of sneak back into a crowd, I guess. Or like the line up. You wanna
make a hide check, or you wanna actually like legit try to hide from their direct line of sight? You can make a stealth roll if you'd like to do that.
No. I don't think I'm trying to hide, I'm trying to back up.
Okay, I got you.
I'm not sure what they're saying. and to Amethyst, I would believe her when she says they'd respect me or wouldn't be upset, so I'm just sort of testing the waters, I guess.
So Kyto has kind of continued in the common right now. Again, he's kind of looking over to Amethyst, like expectantly. Shall we hasten things along? Have your rope climb aboard and leave this dreary place for much better lodgings? And like again, the hill giant just kind of like narrowed eyes, just peering at Kyto as he speaks, and just almost like ignoring him, just turns right to Amethyst, kind of waiting for her to speak or translate. But he says, before Amethyst can really say anything, Kilnak ka? Och, no, Kilnak ba Stormcape, I'm afraid. Ich fern Kilnak! And he like prods a finger into Amethyst's shoulder, like clearly frustrated, not intending to hurt her or anything. Amethyst continues in giant. Yuck, hogi Grimshoe. Cool. Kilnak ba Stormcape. And Amethyst's motion is like motioning to Kyto as she's like saying whatever she's saying, and we'll turn to him and then switch to Common for his sake. Blomker's not happy you've come empty-handed. We may have come empty-handed, Miss Tibblethibble. Not entirely. You certainly know that. Warrior Robley, come forward, my goodman, as we discussed. And Amethyst kind of objects. Envoy, no. This is hardly a controllable environment to conduct such testings. Ah, Miss Tibblethibble, I'd argue there is no environment better. The field of battle is a chaotic and unorganized place. If Blomker and his kin do not wish to participate in a feat of strength, then that is their choice. We can simply move on to the next collection of giant folk slated for pickup. And at this point, Warrior Robley, who Kyto is called to, is now stepped up next to him. And Kylia, you recognize this is Vix. This is like, the guy that had a rivalry of some sorts with Henrik, and was basically the reason Henrik isn't on this convoy duty. But Vix produces a kind of a bundle of folded up cloth, and where you're all close enough where as he's maneuvering it and manipulating it, you can hear like a tinking of glass knocking against each other, and he steps towards Blomker, just kind of extending this out to him and pulling and unfurling bits of the folded cloth. And with a sigh, Amethyst begins speaking in Giant again as Vix is doing this. Lux tenguaxu, stupor, nas jux. Blomker kind of delicately pinches a little vial of bright green superior stupor from what Vix has outstretched to him. Kind of holds it, in his the pointer and thumb pinched together, holds it right up to his eye as if to like inspect it and kind of swirl it around a little bit in its little vial. And with a further exchange of Giant between Blomker and Amethyst, the hill giant kind of nods his head, and he just kind of tosses the vial to to an ogre closest to him.
Amethyst, you can't.
Oh, dear, it's quite all right. It's quite all right.
You don't know what you're doing.
Oh, no, believe me, I'm all too aware of what's about to happen. Kyto nods to the closest Veritas warrior, kind of, again, in a similar fashion, just seemingly picked at random. Although it seems, you notice, Kylia, that after second Blomker picked up this vial, Vix made himself very scarce after handing over this dose, distancing himself from the giant folk and Kyto. But Kyto kind of claps his hands together. Splendid! Circle up, warriors! Blomker kind of says something in Giant to the ogres, and these two groups kind of form two halves of a loose circle around the chosen ogre with the dose of stupor and this Veritas warrior, who they immediately start to square up inside of this clearly a fight circle, right, has formed. And the ogre just kind of crushes the vial. You hear the glass shattering, and his big meaty fist tilts his head back and just raises his hand above him and lets the stupor just drain into his mouth through his fingers. And immediately you see like this change in the ogre. Kylia and Helkruk for sure have seen someone, the immediate after effects of someone taking a dose of this type of stupor. Where I think Rumpke has done it in private, but it was Dr. Cockle, of course, in the prison that you had witnessed do this. You all see small kind of tendrils of green spreading under his skin, kind of down his throat, and they make it to about his shoulders and his chest before kind of fading into his body. He kind of immediately stands up straighter to like his full 8-foot height, no longer like kind of hunched over with fatigue and starvation, right? Even like his emaciated body, just like he looks stronger. Already, Amethyst is like furiously, she's got like a journal out and she's like starting to scribble notes and documenting these events.
Kylia goes back by where Opal is and she grabs Helkruk on the way by. It's like, just back up.
Yeah, I won't protest.
And the fight is fast and brutal. This Veritas warrior draws his short sword. He kind of leads with like a fainting charge on the ogre, causes this giant folk to overcommit this incoming swing to the left. The warrior dukes to the right, slashing and drawing his blade across, the visible ribs through the ogre's side and the skin. But the ogre barely seems phased, like almost it's almost excited to take this damage as a wicked smile forms across his face and turns quickly into a snarl as he swings one of his long arms kind of horizontally, like wildly, batters the Vertus warrior's armored shoulder hard enough to shake the sword loose from his grip, and a follow-up swing quickly, narrowly dodged as the warrior rolls under it, snatching up his sword as he does so. But the ogre keeps advancing, just throwing haymakers wildly, snarling, growling, pushing the warrior towards the edge of this circle. As he reaches out to grab a hold of him, the warrior thrusts his sword, piercing the ogre's hand right up to the hilt of his weapon. The ogre again lets out like its joyful snarl laugh mixture as with his unimpaled hand just punches this warrior square in the face with this meaty fist, obliterating the nose's cartilage and a splatter of blood as he flops back onto the ground, barely remaining conscious. The ogre just kind of pulls the sword out, almost like pulling a toothpick out of a sandwich, and he's holding it above his head, ready to just bring it down on the incapacitated warrior. But the hill giant Blomkuri steps in quickly, grabs a hold of the ogre's, grabs him by wrist mid-plunge, stopping the fatal blow. He just turns to him with an angry look. "Ook no snoo snoo." He pushes the ogre back, throws the sword onto the ground next to the defeated warrior. And you see like Blomkuri is like inspecting this ogre now. And like the ogre, like you kind of have seen Rumkey amped up a little bit on this stuff. Like he just like can't stop moving, right? And he's kind of bouncing on his feet. And you see Amethyst has now joined Blomkuri and this ogre, and she's like getting right in there. It's like she's so small compared to these figures. She's like on her tiptoes trying to see a little closer to what exactly is happening, like inspecting the hand wound, just furiously writing notes. And the effects of this dose, like in less than 5 minutes, it's clear that the dose is worn off. This effect did not last very long for this ogre, and like the ogre is almost immediately like racked again with these waves of starvation and fatigue, and all but collapses to the ground, just kind of slumps down, leans back, and falls asleep. And Amethyst and Blomkuri, they exchange another kind of flurry of like guttural utterings in giant before Blomkuri finally just grunts, shouts something at the rest of the ogres. And you see the 6 remaining ogres start to kind of file off into the hills.
To know oneself is to know true strength. Oh, excuse me, I didn't see you there. Don't mind the meditations of my mind. For now we must bid farewell. But fear not. The journey continues at incorrigibleparty.com. There's also a new World Anvil page to explore the world of Senta and all its wonders. These enchanting melodies you've heard come from tabletopaudio.com and Sarastro Music. Please accept my invitation to join our Discord server, and we shall forge bonds as strong as a tall oak and share tales that echo throughout the halls. Lastly, I humbly beseech you, like, rate, review, and spread the word of our adventures across the realms. Tell a friend, a comrade, or even a foe. And until we meet again, may your dice be blessed with fortune, and your cup filled with ale. Happy adventuring.
This has been a Sounds of Steel production.